All right, y'all. We have 4 college football week 5 plays for y'all in this video, so stay tuned for that. But first of all, if you want a free week of premium, it'll be linked below, or you can go to our website, which will be linked below as well. And you just come to our monthly pass, and then you'll type in the code WEEK, and then it'll give you a free week of premium. So now that that's that, Chalkboard and Dabble are the 2 apps we're going to be using. They will both be linked below for a free 20 whenever you sign up with code Morrisbros on Chalkboard, free 25 whenever you sign up with code Morrisbros on Dabble. Both of those will be linked below, so that's a free $45 for you to tail with this week. But like I said, 4 slips, so let's get into it. We have 15 currently in premium, so if you want to join that, like I said, it'll be linked below. Everything that you need will be linked below, so just check the description. And let's get into it. So for the first play on Chalkboard, we have Notre Dame, CJ Carr, and Malachi Fields correlation stack. We're taking Carr for 1.5 passing touchdowns with Malachi Fields 58.5 receiving yards. We saw Ole Miss march down the field every drive against Arkansas. I think Notre Dame should be able to do the same. Arkansas's run defense, however, looked really good against Ole Miss. So I'm kind of hoping that they do the same thing against Notre Dame. Good rush defense, but terrible against the passing game. And CJ Carr's been really impressive as a redshirt freshman quarterback. He's honestly surprised me, and I think he's a better quarterback than a lot of people give him credit for. So I like him over 1.5 passing touchdowns and Malachi Fields receiving yards. I think Malachi Fields is their best wide receiver by far. He's a transfer from Virginia, so not many people knew about him until now. But yeah, he's an absolute stud. Take him over 58.5 receiving yards. And then we're going to pair that with Garrett Nussmeier and Aaron Anderson. Now, a lot of people think Ole Miss's defense is good. If you watch the Arkansas game against Ole Miss, you would think otherwise, and now I think otherwise. Plus, Lane Kiffin said take the over, so hopefully it's a high-scoring game. We'll see what happens. But Nussmeier hasn't had to do a whole lot this year just because of how good his defense has been. However, I think Ole Miss will make it a competitive game, a high-scoring game. Hopefully we get a shootout. Ole Miss's run defense has looked really good, so hopefully LSU is going to have to rely on Nussmeier, their senior quarterback, to make plays and get the ball into the end zone. So I'm taking him for 2.5 passing touchdowns. As you see, the multiplier is 2.6x on that. So really, really high multiplier there. And then we're taking his stud wide receiver, Aaron Anderson, over 73.5 receiving yards. Anderson went over this line against Ole Miss last year. He had 81 yards on 3 catches. That was with Kyron Lacey being there. Now he's the number 1 wide receiver. He should probably see 8 to 9 targets in this game, if not more, especially if LSU is going to be passing the ball a lot more than they have been, which I think they should. Just because, like I said, Nussmeier hasn't had to do much this year, and I just feel like a big game is coming from him, especially because they're probably going to need it if they want to win this game. So, like this stack as the first play. So, CJ Carr, Malachi Fields, overs, Nussmeier, and Aaron Anderson, overs. Another chalkboard slip. This is going to be a same game play. Alabama-Georgia game. Hopefully we get a shootout here, because if we do, then the slip will look like it's money. But we're taking Ty Simpson, 1.5 passing touchdowns. He looked really good against Wisconsin, and so did Ryan Williams. Williams had 11 targets week 1, 6 targets last week against Wisconsin. I think he'll probably see 7 to 8 against Georgia. And we all know what Ryan Williams did last year against Georgia with those big plays that he had. I'm not expecting a 180-yard game like he had last year, but a 70-yard game, 80-yard game from Ryan Williams, I think, is more than doable. So, Ty Simpson, over 1.5. Ryan Williams, over 62.5. We saw what Joey Aguilar did and Chris Brazzell did against Georgia. I think we could see the same from Alabama. And then, obviously, Georgia's going to have to respond if they want to stay in the game. So, we're taking Gunnar Stockton, 1.5 passing touchdowns. He looked really, really good against Tennessee. Hopefully, he does the same against Alabama. And they're at home, which I like even more. And then Zachariah Branch, probably the most explosive offensive player in college football, over 43.5 receiving yards. Like I said, they love to give him the ball on screens, and I think he can get a deep ball or two or just take it to the house off another screen. So I like him over 43.5 receiving yards, Stockton 1.5 passing touchdowns. So this is the same game play. I believe it's 11x, so pretty good payout here for the same game. All right. Actually, let me show y'all something real quick. If we go on FanDuel and put in the same slip, that slip was 11x on Chalkboard. If we put in the same slip on FanDuel, I'm curious to see what the payout would be. But I already know it's going to be way less than what Chalkboard's giving us, so hang on. Let me find this game. Okay, so here's the game. Passing props, touchdowns, over, receiving yards, Branch is at 49.5 on FanDuel too. Yeah, so this same slip that we took on Chalkboard for 11x is paying us 7.3x on FanDuel. So we're getting nearly 4x of value, and Zachariah Branch is 6 yards lower. So that's absolute money. That's what we love to see. So good, really good value on this slip. I highly recommend tailing this one just because of the value based on it alone. Sorry, I can't talk. All right, moving on. This is on Dabble. Like I said, sign up on Dabble with code Morrisbros. They're going to give you a free $25. Now we're going to take a correlation stack with Ohio State. Julian Sayin, Jeremiah Smith. Julian Sayin over passing yards, Jeremiah Smith over receiving yards. Washington's defense has been pretty good so far, but they haven't played Ohio State or any team like it. And they also have never faced a wide receiver like Jeremiah Smith. Quite frankly, because he is by far the best wide receiver in the country. So I don't think anybody can slow him down. I don't care if you double team him. It's just extremely hard to stop this guy, especially whenever you have Carnell Tate across the field from him. So I like these two over against Washington. I think this is going to be a closer game than some people think. So Ohio State should be still having to throw the football. And then we're going to take Trey Benson tonight, receiving yards against Seattle. Seattle allows, I think, the third most receiving yards in the NFL to running backs. Plus, Benson has been getting a ton of targets, even with James Conner healthy. Without James Conner, I think he'll see even more, maybe 4 to 5 targets tonight if he sees that much. 20 yards should be very, very doable. Now, Bryson Washington, running back for Baylor. I told you on yesterday's video I would take him up to 115 yards. He's at 107, so I'm taking it over against Oklahoma State in a game where Baylor should just be running the football, looking to drain the clock. Plus, this guy gets like 15 to 20 carries a game, and Oklahoma State's defense is absolutely abysmal. So look to take him over 107.5. Really like this slip for 10x. But yeah, that is slip number 3, and for the last one, we're going to go to Pitt. Pitt, Eli Holstein, and Raphael Williams. I think his nickname is like Poppy Williams. He looked really, really good against West Virginia, and Eli Holstein seems to love this guy more than any other wide receiver on his team. Plus, this guy's a really good deep ball threat, so Pitt should be trailing in this game. They're 7.5-point underdogs, so they should be throwing the football regardless. Plus, I think Desmond Reed is injured, so if that's the case, which is their running back. If their running back is injured, they're going to be throwing the ball even more. So I like this stack here. I like Elijah Surratt against Iowa. We saw Rutgers throw for 330 yards against Iowa. I think we could see the same here from Indiana, especially because Iowa's run defense is so fucking good that the pretty much only way to move the ball on offense against them is throwing the football, and who's better to catch the football in Indiana than Elijah Surratt? We saw Ian Strong have like 150 yards last week for Rutgers. I think Surratt could have easily 100 yards in this game. I love him here at 76.5. And then Omarion Hampton against the Giants. Giants are allowing 5.3 yards per carry against opposing running backs. No Najee Harris anymore. Hampton's workload was at 19 carries last week. I expect the same this week, especially against a team where they should be blowing them out. If you get 19 carries against the Denver Broncos in a close game, imagine how many carries you're going to get in a game where you're up 10 to 14 points throughout the game. So if Hampton gets 15 to 20 carries, averaging 4 yards a carry, he's easily going to hit this line. Love Hampton here for 63.5 rushing yards. But yeah, this is the last slip, so we'll go through all of them again just so y'all can see. But this is the first one on Dabble, second one on Dabble with Ohio State, Bryson Washington, and Trey Benson. And then first one on Chalkboard with the Georgia-Alabama game, both quarterbacks over touchdowns and their stud wide receivers over their receiving yards. And then same thing here in the LSU game and then Notre Dame game. So quarterbacks over their passing touchdowns and their stud wide receivers over their receiving yards. Here are the codes for Chalkboard and Dabble again. Just code Morrisbros, Chalkboard free 20, Dabble free 25. Both will be linked below. So go ahead and click those links, get signed up on both of those apps, get your free $45 combined on both of those apps. And then if you want all of our plays, you know where to find the link. It'll be down below. Just click on that. You'll get your free week of premium, and we will see you in there. Let's have a great week 5. This is probably the most interesting slate of the year so far, so I'm very excited, and hopefully this will be a very, very good week for us. But other than that, that's all I got for you. Appreciate y'all watching. Make sure you subscribe, like, so you don't miss any more videos, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.